Hey, it's Clay. Welcome to another League of Legends video. This time I wanted to do a topical commentary as I play some Pantheon, the Man-theon. Got this sweet, I really actually enjoy this glaive worm Pantheon skin, I believe is what it's called. But it's kind of based on, I want to say it's like a 300 theme. But I dig it. I think it's pretty sweet. But anyways, this was a ranked match. Got the snowball going real hard. You know how much I love that snowball. But anywho, let's talk about matchmaking. I really want to enlist your thoughts. I actually played this game with a friend, I believe. Oh, I think I was playing mid lane Pantheon. That's right. Garrett, hello, how are you? Good to play with you again. But anyways, let's talk about matchmaking. This is something that I think I read a forum post on that it very much intrigued me, but the basic idea was that they were it was somebody just kind of theory crafting and saying, hey, what can Riot do to change the matchmaking process to make it more, I don't know, because I feel like matchmaking can be like a super tumultuous time. It's like, there can be all sorts of problems going on in matchmaking, I guess more specifically champion select, not necessarily just matchmaking, but basically, the idea is once you get matched with teammates, how do you figure out like what role you're going to go into and what roles you're going to play, what champions you're going to pick? How can they make that process better, easier, more reliable? Just make more sense. Whatever you want to say. But the basic idea of this post and something that I really wanted to enlist your feedback on is that. They were saying that you should, instead of just queuing up and then working it out in chat and figuring it all out. That's kind of been Riot's official stance, is they want you guys to work it out in chat. And so we're kind of talking about like the pick order versus call order controversy, that type of thing. But this person was saying, why don't you change it so that you can queue up and select a position that you want to play? So it would be like, you would queue up in like the mid lane queue if you want to go mid, or you would queue up like, so you would be in ranked, but then you could specifically say, I want to play top lane, and so you would just get matched with 4 other people, none of whom have also said they want to go top lane. So basically, going into champ select, that top lane is yours. And I thought it was a really intriguing idea. I thought that there were definitely some pros and cons associated with it, but I really wanted to kind of flesh out the idea and see where you think it would go and what we could do to kind of make this better. You see dodging that little gank right there from the Jarvan, getting charmed. Am I going to have to flash? I think I'm just going to run away. But, so anyways, there are a couple of strengths. I think number one, I think that this would really serve to remove a lot of the toxicity and the power struggle and the problem that a lot of people have with this type of a position and situation. Because a lot of times it becomes very, very frustrating. And I have this too, where like anytime I'm about to enter matchmaking, like I'll go into a game, especially when I'm trying to do a Y-buy, like I'll go into a game thinking I really want to play Pantheon this game because I want to get a good video for Y-buy. And I think that a lot of people do the same, where they're like, hey, I really want to play X champion, I really want to play X role, or I'm a top lane main, and so that's what I want to play. But anyways, what can Riot do to smooth that process out? So let's talk about the pros of this. Number one is I think that it would really help to alleviate, like obviously you don't have people who are like instalocking, because you came into this selecting your own role. Now, one thing that I'm sure that there would be people who would continue to troll it, but in terms of like just like the drama that you have, it definitely would take away from some of the drama. I don't see how this could not be anything but a good thing in terms of removing some of the drama in terms of champ select. You're not going to be fighting with your teammates anymore, but rather you can more have a chance to work together and build a strategy instead of fight with one another. And it also really gives you a sense of stability and consistency to say, you know what, like this is my promo match. Oh, we're going for the big jump here. This is my promo match. Are we going to get this kill? Yes, we are. This is probably my promotional match, and I don't want to chance it by, getting locked into a role that I'm not very good with. I want to make sure that I'm playing something that's my best because this is an important match to me. Whatever the reason is, I think that the stability that this solution offers is really optimal. I think that really helps. Ooh, gonna have to flash away there. Now, and also I do think that it makes sense because, so let's talk a little bit about on the flip side before I get into kind of my official thoughts on it. Let's talk about the cons that have been raised. So number one is the reason I think the main reason why Riot doesn't want to do this is that because it means that they are officially endorsing some sort of meta, and I don't think that that's something that Riot wants to do. And if you don't really understand what the word meta means, we're talking about like, in general, the word meta means something that's like overarching or overarching is probably the best word. But I've often heard of it in terms of like a meta-narrative, which is like an overarching story or explanation for something that's going on. So like in League of Legends, the meta is, top lane is going to be some sort of bruiser, jungle is going to be some sort of tanky initiator, mid lane is going to be an AP mage or assassin, and then bot lane is going to be an AD carry and a support. Though that's kind of the meta right now, and it has been for a while, and I don't really necessarily see it changing anytime soon. And if you're going to bust the meta, it would be something like playing an AD carry top lane, or playing, I don't know, Shaco mid or Nocturne top. Those are all things that break the meta. And oftentimes these things will get you yelled at because breaking the meta is not very popular. People get pretty upset with you when you break the meta. Now, if Riot does this, and they would officially be endorsing a meta, they would be saying that, that they are recognizing that, top lane is where kind of these tanky bruisers go, mid lane is where the AP mages go, bot lane is where the AD carry and support go, etc. You do see, like, I remember TSM in the summer split, they had a game where they had like Xin Zhao and like some sort of normal support bot lane. These types of meta breaking things aren't necessarily unheard of, and they can work to catch your opponents off guard. But I think the real kicker here, and my counter to this, is that ranked solo queue, and normals as well, everybody practices this meta. Everybody, people legitimately get angry with you if you don't follow it. I would say that it's just it has come to the point where this is just a factual, this is how it is. And for Riot to not want to officially endorse it, I don't think they're helping themselves out in any way. I think that they're hindering what they could potentially do in terms of solidifying the community and removing some of the toxicity from their game. The risk is really not worth, the potential reward if you do choose to do this. If you choose to follow the strategy and remove some of that conflict and the toxicity that occurs there, you are going to do a lot for your game. I think that a lot of times, one of the big reasons why some people don't play ranked is because they hate dealing with the negativity. And I totally get that. But if you can remove that and take that away, I think that'd be a big upside. Another reason why I think that this would be negative, and actually I think this is a very, very legitimate reason, but it has to do just logistically. The fact that support and jungle to some extent is a little bit less desirable, and mid lane in general is a little bit more desirable. Those queue times would probably be insanely long. If you're going to queue up for the mid lane queue, you're probably going to have to sit and wait there for a while, because I'm guessing that a lot of people would queue up for that. And if you want to queue up as a support, you're probably going to get into a game almost immediately. So I think that it would really change the dynamics of like queue times and when and where you get matched into a game, and just kind of like really changing the dynamics of how you get matched into those teams. So I think that really is a legitimate concern that could potentially cause problems. Because I think that getting people into a game is very important, and whatever Riot can do to kind of smooth that process along is very important. But if people are stuck in really, really long queue times because they want to go mid, that almost kind of defeats the purpose. If you have to sit in 20 minutes before you actually get into the game you want, then I'm sure that people probably just aren't going to do it, and they're just going to, select all, because they want to get into a game as fast as they can, and then who knows, maybe they'll try to circumvent it there, and maybe they'll call top lane, or maybe they'll call support, but then say, mid or feed. I don't know, I'm sure that people would still find a way to get around that. So it definitely would be an imperfect solution in terms of just like the practicality of getting people into a game and getting people, in through fast queue times. Those types of things would definitely have their drawbacks and their negatives. But on the flip side, I think that that's kind of the community's choice, and I think that that is a choice that is probably, it's okay to give to the community, and possibly even best to give it to the community. You know, if I want to truly only play mid lane and nothing else, well, then I probably should just have to sit and accept a longer queue time than normal. That's just kind of the nature of the beast if you want to do that. If you are somebody who doesn't really care, you can select all, and you can be perfectly content with that, you know, and that could be a really good solution for you. So, you know, it is kind of what it is in that regard, I think that is an onus that you put on the community. You allow them to have the opportunity to make that choice, and even though it is a potential negative, I think that's one that maybe you can live with. So just kind of other thoughts on this whole process. Another thing too is that I think that Riot really, really, really wants to try and encourage people to be nice. Like, the argument is almost that, well, if we have trolls and ragers and people who are, you know, toxic, well, we've got the tribunal system for that, and we've got we've got just general humanity. You know, these are people, and generally a game developer can only go so far in terms of changing people. You know, because if people want to be negative, well, they're gonna find a way to be negative. That if you enact this solution, there is definitely a chance that it wouldn't work, and that you would still have people who are very negative. I think that's a legitimate counter-argument, that even if you enact the solution, there's people, I guarantee you, people will find a way to continue to troll and rage and cause conflict and problems in Champ Select, even if this happens. You know, I'm sure that people will lock support because they want to get into a game fast, but then when they get into the Champ Select, they're going to choose something else, or they're going to break the meta, and it would be all sorts of problems and still continue to cause problems. I don't know. I think that's a pretty legitimate concern. I think that that's a pretty legitimate counter-argument to this, because truthfully, like, I don't know. It's just like, how do you change, you know, human behavior? How do you change the way that your players play the game and interact with one another? How do you force someone to be nice to somebody else? How do you force someone to be a decent person? Now, I'm not really sure if that's... Ooh, a nice double kill right there. I'm not really sure if that's something you can do with a game mechanic. I'm not necessarily sure that that's something you can accomplish just by changing and tweaking matchmaking. And I think that's probably the strongest argument against this, that, you know, really, if people want to troll and want to be negative and want to be rude, there's only so much that Riot can do about it. But in the end, I do really think that Riot can do more than they're doing now, and I think that maybe looking at incorporating this idea somehow, maybe not completely, maybe not, you know, 100% following it as is, but finding some way to, I don't know, implement this idea a little bit more, where you're kind of removing the onus from people to make decisions themselves, and allowing for a little bit more of, I don't know what the right word is, a little bit more, you know, control and just power over where you lane, and not leaving so much up for people to try and, you know, do what's right and do what's best, but just to kind of take it into your own hands as a game studio, and you know, a nice double kill right there. Ooh, I end up going down, and you know, take, if it truly is a problem, and if it's something that you want to fix, well, I think that you can change the way your game works to fix it. But anyways, we got 2 minutes left on this game, so I probably should start wrapping up. I really would like to hear your thoughts on this idea of changing the Champ Select, so that instead of just kind of queuing up and getting stuck with 4 other random people and figuring out how you're going to make your team, what if there was a way where you could, you know, you would queue up for ranked or normal, and then also with that you would queue up for a role, and you would say, you know, I want to do top or mid, and then you would get thrown into a game in one of those positions. And then, you know, once you get there, then you have 4 other teammates who are also locked into their position. I don't know. I'm very curious to know and to see your response and your reaction to this idea, because I think it's an interesting thought. But anyways, as we kind of finish this game out, we had a pretty big lead, and up to 10-1, so I had a lot of kills. Ooh, jumping in on this, there we go, getting that kill, and then going to steal the blue buff from that unsuspecting Aria. Nice ward by Leona is going to help pick that up. So if you're a support, ward that brush right there by blue buff that I just walked through because it's awesome. Gonna jump on this Tristana. Oh, but then Jarvan's gonna scare me away. Pantheon is the man. He is the man-theon, literally. Ooh, but it looks like Garrett got the kill. Good job, friend. But, yep, the game's pretty much over at this point. I don't necessarily think that there's a lot that they can do to come back, so I'm pretty sure they just kind of surrender here pretty shortly. But anyways, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below if you think this is a good idea or a bad idea, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.